Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to do a movie spotlight, since it's a bit of a slow news day, and I'd like to spotlight one of my favorite 1980s, so bad that it's good films, and that is 1984's Chud. And CHUD is it's an acronym. It stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, and it's one of those kind of classic 1980s, uh, monster like sci-fi type of movies. The acting is hammy. The plot is over the top. It feels like a Corman film. It feels like a Roger Corman film or a Larry Cohen film, or something along those lines. It feels a lot like one of those films, and even though it wasn't made by them, it is one of those movies. It is so good. It is so corny. All the actors in this chew scenery left and right. It is great. You have John Hurd, you have Christopher Curry, you have a very early role for Daniel Stern, who would go on to be in Home Alone 1 and 2 as one of the burglars opposite Joe Pesci. And you also have a very early role for John Goodman as a beat cop in a donut shop, which I think is kind of funny. You really don't see. Again, you kind of you see these notable actors sometimes in these movies where they didn't have really huge roles. Leading up to certain films, and you have stuff like that with like Leonardo DiCaprio in Critters 3, or uh, Jason Alexander in The Burning, or stuff like that. But you the thing about this movie is that it's not so much the characters and the interactions. The special effects in this movie are actually really good. The makeup effects are really good. There's a lot of gore and stuff in this film, and the thing that they do really good is they keep the monsters in the dark for the majority of the film. You really don't see them until the third act. But that could have also been a side effect of the budget too, which that does factor into some of these things. But ultimately, I really love the movie Chud. It is a fun ride if you like that kind of goofy '80s type of feel, like a Howard the Duck type of movie, but a little more darker in tone and a little more graphically violent. Then this will be your film. This is something that, again, people that love, if you like, gory movies, if you like slasher films and stuff like that, you'll like this movie. And I really do love the monsters too when you actually do finally get to see them in the film. And again, I'm not going to give too much away because I do want you to go watch this, or at least give it a try if you can find it somewhere. It is a bit hard to come by in certain cases, especially on home video and DVD. But if you can get your hands on it, watch it. I finally got my hands on a DVD of it this past Christmas. I love this film. It's something I can watch, a few times through in an afternoon and not be bored. And again, it's just one of those things that there is something that is so 80s about it. And if you love the 80s, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about if you love 80s cinema. And it is something so 80s about Chud. It was just in a slew of films that was coming out in 1984, horror movies. Obviously, there were movies in that year that eclipsed it. Stuff like Friday the 13th Part 3 and Nightmare on Elm Street and a bunch of other stuff. So, but I would say go watch it. Go find it. Go watch it. It's a great fun ride. Uh, and it really, if you want to watch some hammy acting, if you want to watch, and not bad acting, but if you want to watch hammy acting, guys chewing scenery, guys being over the top, especially Daniel Stern. Daniel Stern is over the top in this movie. There's a few scenes where John Hurd is as well, but Daniel Stern, for the most part, is the most over the top character in this movie. He runs like a soup kitchen for homeless people, and the scenes in this movie are great. Some of the stuff that they do in this movie, it's just so over the top, insane, and I love it. But go take a watch. Go take a look at Chud. It's a good watch. It's fun. Yeah, again, if you're a fan of the '80s, if you're a fan of little bit of gore and violence and stuff like that, go watch this film. It is a great watch. So with that, um, they did make a sequel to this called Chud 2 Bud the Chud. Do not watch that film. It is a piece of crap. Um, for some reason, that one seems to be more prevalent on home video, on DVD and Blu-ray and stuff. Actually, I don't even know if there is a Blu-ray for it, but on DVD at least. But if you can watch the original, get your hands on the original and watch it. Um, and you got to remember too that when you're watching certain types of movies, especially movies like this, these people did have limitations, but they made, especially the creature designs and stuff like that. I love the creature designs in this because it looks so eerie, and you don't really find out what's happening until the end of the film. But it's one of those things that just when you first start seeing these monsters, it is so like it feels so real. It feels like this could be something that you would find in a sewer somewhere. It doesn't feel like a. It doesn't necessarily feel like. I mean, it's unrealistic, obviously, because it's a monster movie. But it comes back to akin to something maybe like a Creature from the Black Lagoon or something like that, but obviously with better makeup effects and a better looking monster. But like I said before, if you can find it, if you can rent it, if you can watch it on streaming, if you can find it anywhere, just give it a watch. It is a film that has been unfortunately glazed over. It's become a cult classic in recent years, but if you're not really in tune with the horror genre, a lot of people don't know about this film. And I'm going to say it right now, Chud is one of my favorite horror movies. And I don't say that lightly, when because I am a serious horror fan. I love horror as a genre, but Chud is one of my favorites because it's not just uh, the way that they portray the creatures and stuff like that, and the way that they keep them in the shadows for the majority of the film. It's the way that they make this movie. Kind of work the way it does, where you have all these kind of shifting little cogs in the film, because there's really three plot lines that are going on simultaneously and they're intercrossing with one another throughout the film. But again, I have to say this: if you love the '80s, you will love this movie. I will say that again. If you love the '80s, you will love this movie. So thank you again for listening. Um, and remember, if you like this movie, or if you have any suggestions for movie spotlights, put them in the comments. Put put a like on the video, hit the bell for notifications, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?